No quarantine for Indian travellers to UK who have been fully vaccinated with Covishield or another UK-approved vaccine from the 11th of October, says British High Commissioner to India. UP police summoned minister's son in Lakhimpur case. 2 people are arrested. Supreme Court asks the government to file status report by Friday. Aryan Khan and 7 others sent to judicial custody by Magistrates Court in Mumbai. Bail plea will come up for hearing at 11 a.m. on Friday. A new wave of targeted killings in Kashmir. A Sikh principal and a Hindu teacher are shot dead. Lieutenant Governor promises strong action, says no one will be spared. And places of worship open in Maharashtra on the first day of the Navratras. Hello and welcome to NDTV 24/7. I'm Rohit Wellington. Let's begin with our top story. The United Kingdom has announced that starting the 11th of October, there will be no quarantine for Indian travellers to UK if they are fully vaccinated with Covishield or another UK-approved vaccine. The UK government had faced severe backlash and allegations of vaccine racism over its refusal to recognise visitors as vaccinated unless they received their shots in a handful of select countries. On the 1st of October, remember, in response to the UK quarantine rules for Indians and citizens of several nations, including those vaccinated with Covishield, India had imposed mandatory 10-day quarantine for British citizens, irrespective of their vaccination status. Now the UK has lifted the quarantine rules for Indian travellers fully vaccinated with Covishield. Meanwhile, foreign tourists will now be allowed into India from the 15th of November. The government has decided to lift COVID barrier for international travellers by resuming the grant of tourist visas. Government will start granting fresh tourist visas to foreigners coming to India from the 15th of November. For those coming in on chartered flights, visas will be granted starting 15th of October. The move comes a year and a half after grant of tourist visas was suspended. Now to the latest on the Lakhimpur case. 2 accused have been arrested in connection with that Sunday's violence in Lakhimpur Kheri, and that's what in fact the UP police have claimed. The cops say that both were present at the spot and in the vehicles that crushed the farmers and journalists to death. Union Minister's son has also been summoned in connection with the case. Meanwhile, Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, who has visited the families of the victims in Lakhimpur Kheri, said that all these families want justice. She also asked the Prime Minister, why hasn't the minister whose son has been summoned been dismissed yet?
सब परिवार यही कह रहे हैं कि उनको न्याय चाहिए कि और जितने भी परिवारों से मैं मिली हूँ ज्यादातर यही कह रहे हैं कि उनको न्याय चाहिए, कि जो गृह राज्य मंत्री हैं उनको इस्तीफा देना चाहिए और जो भी अपराधी हैं जिन्होंने ये सब किया उनको गिरफ्तार करना चाहिए। ये सब ऐसा ही कह रहे हैं।
सुप्रीम कोर्ट में भी ये लखीमपुर का मामला सुना जाएगा। जी, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने पूरा स्टेटस रिपोर्ट मांगा है, क्या कहेंगे सर?
जी मैं कहूंगी कि निष्पक्ष जांच होनी चाहिए। हमने पहले भी कहा है, एक निष्पक्ष जांच होनी चाहिए और वो निष्पक्ष जांच तब तक नहीं हो सकती जब तक ये मंत्री रहेंगे, क्योंकि ये गृह राज्य मंत्री हैं, ये सारे डिपार्टमेंट उनके अंडर आते हैं। तो मोदी जी को सोचना पड़ेगा कि वो इस देश को क्या संदेश भेज रहे हैं। क्या ये संदेश है उनका कि जो सत्ता में है, जो भाजपा में है, वो कुछ भी कर सकता है, वो लोगों की हत्या भी कर सकता है, उस पर कोई कानून लागू नहीं होगा? क्या ये संदेश है उनका?
Now, the arrests and the summons came hours after the Supreme Court questioned how many people have been arrested and asked the state government to submit a status report by Friday.
A new, longer video makes it clear Sunday's Lakhimpur protest was peaceful when it was hit from behind by an SUV belonging to the son of Union Minister Ajay Mishra. 4 farmers were killed, in which the minister's son Ashish has been named in the FIR. The protesters say he is the main accused. Although he remains free, and both he and his father have denied his role.
In Delhi, the Supreme Court told the UP government to submit a status report by tomorrow and give details of who has been arrested. So far, the UP police has not arrested the Union Minister's son.
Now, after the Supreme Court's intervention, the police say they have summoned the minister's son. But despite this video, the FIR and the statements of eyewitnesses, the police say they are waiting for evidence to undergo forensic and other tests before arresting the main accused.
We have lodged an FIR. We have not gone into the background of whosoever the accused is.
So this time that is being taken is not jarring according to you? It doesn't strike you as something that would not happen if
Please
I
help
were
out.
matter?
Please help me out. I have already issued a number. Please help me out. Provide me evidences. I will definitely go for it. Again and again you are calling for a murder case. You should be very well aware that an inquiry commission has also been established for the inquiry. We will have to proceed. We will have to gather. There are so many umpteen number of evidences. All have to be forensically examined.
2 cartridges have been recovered from the spot where the farmers and journalists were killed. Farmers have alleged the son of the union minister fired at the spot, but the police says no firearm injury has been detected in any of the 8 postmortems. 2 people were questioned today in the case, but no one has been arrested yet. The opposition leaders, who were finally allowed in Lakhimpur by the Yogi government, have demanded the BJP sack the union minister.
वो जिम्मेदारी से कैसे हट सकते हैं, उनको भी इस्तीफा देना चाहिए।
मैं जानना चाहती हूँ कि न्याय कैसे मिलेगा अगर वो मंत्री रहेंगे, उनके अंडर आता है ना ये सब। किसानों से तो जब तक वो रहेंगे, जब तक वो बर्खास्त नहीं होंगे, तो कौन एक निष्पक्ष जांच करेगा?
But the BJP appears to be backing Ajay Mishra, who was recently appointed with an eye on the vital UP Assembly elections. The minister is back at work as one of India's top law and order officials and was the chief guest at a meeting of prison officials in the capital, in his role as the junior minister for Home Affairs. The BSF, a paramilitary force under his ministry, was deployed to keep the media out.
After attending BPRD function for over an hour, Minister of State for Home Affairs Mr. Ajay Mishra left just now. He attended this conference on prisons and correctional service. He was here for over an hour. Interestingly, the media was invited here yesterday, and today they were barred from going inside. And look at the bandobast. Look at the bandobast, the BPRD, the Delhi police, even the BSF has been deputed along the gate just to keep the media out of the gates.
Hours after Varun Gandhi, the only high-profile BJP leader who has spoken out repeatedly against Sunday's violence, tweeted, calling the Sunday incident murder and calling for accountability, he was dropped from the party's National Executive Committee, along with his mother and fellow MP, Menika Gandhi. The BJP stand is not acceptable to families of the victims like Nakshatra Singh, the 65-year-old farmer who was hit first by the SUV owned by the minister's family.
कुछ संगठनों का नाम लेते हैं, आपने भी सुना होगा, बब्बर खालसा एक्सेट्रा। तो आप एक जनप्रतिनिधि के मुंह से जब ये बातें सुनते हैं तो आप क्या सोचते हैं इसके बारे में?
सर, कुल मिला के ना बेवकूफ़ी है जो ये सब फालतू की बातें करते हैं, किसी को किस चीज़ में जोड़ते हैं। खैर, कुल मिला के सर ये है कि हम बस सब न्याय चाहते हैं।
The UP police have just pasted this notice outside the residence of MOS home Ajay Mishra, basically summoning him for questioning at 10 a.m. on 8th of August, which is tomorrow. But the moot question remains that they still have not been able to trace the MP's son. They have still not made an arrest. And all of this appears to be just attempts at whitewash. With camera person Vineet Verma, this is Alok Pandey, NDTV.
Aryan Khan, the son of megastar Shah Rukh Khan, arrested in a case involving a rave party in a cruise ship, will no longer be in the custody of the Drugs Control Agency but will be in judicial custody. That's what a Mumbai court has said. Similar orders were given for 7 other accused, including his friend Arbaz Merchant. Now, within minutes, Aryan Khan's lawyer moved a petition for bail, which will be heard on Friday. Saurabh Gupta has more.
Well, yes, important arguments in court, and in fact the court, after hearing the arguments of very senior lawyers, the Additional Solicitor General appearing on behalf of the Narcotics Control Bureau, and on the other side, of course, Appearing for Shah Rukh Khan's son Aryan Khan was Satish Mane Shinde, a senior lawyer again. And the arguments were made. The NCB wanted more custody of the accused, but the court, after hearing both sides, decided that it was time for judicial custody. It made it very clear that there was no justification for further custodial interrogation of the accused. In this case, there are of course 8 accused who have now been sent to judicial custody, with accused number 1 being Aryan Khan, who is Superstar Shah Rukh Khan's son. And he's of course accused number 1 because that was the chronological order of the arrests. Now, apart from that, the court has also said that it will take up the bail plea hearing, because once the accused were sent to judicial custody, they became eligible for bail, and the court was inclined to hear the bail pleas immediately, as it was moved by the lawyers of the accused. But the NCB, the Narcotics Control Bureau, through the Additional Solicitor General Anil Singh, opposed that and said they needed time to file their replies. So the court gave them time till tomorrow morning, 11 o'clock. And of course, on Friday morning, 11 o'clock, the court will hear the bail plea of these accused.
A new terror wave has gripped Kashmir. Targeted killings of civilians. 7 Kashmiri civilians have been killed in 5 days. A Sikh school principal and a Hindu teacher were shot dead a day after a chemist and a labourer was killed. The Lieutenant Governor has promised strong action, saying no one will be spared. Nazir Masoodi reports.
A school field turned into a killing ground on the outskirts of Srinagar. 3 terrorists came here, singled out 2 teachers and shot them. Both died on the spot as fear-stricken teachers cried in helplessness. The victims, Deepak Chand, a Hindu from Jammu, and Principal Supinder Kaur, were killed at Sangam village in Srinagar. The 46-year-old principal was a resident of Aluchi Bagh in Srinagar. She was working in the school for the last 3 years.
गनशॉट सुने तो हम मतलब शॉक हो गए कि हमने खिड़की से देखा तो यहाँ पे मतलब शोर सा पड़े बाहर निकले तो वहाँ पे मैडम दीपक सर टीचर एक हमारा वो गिरा हुआ था वहाँ पे.
There was an immediate fallout. The Sikh community has asked its government employees not to attend duties until the government takes steps to ensure their safety.
हमने तो आज से अपने प्रोटेस्ट के तौर पर अपने तमाम उन सिख नौजवानों से कहा है जो सरकारी दफ्तरों में हैं कि वो प्रोटेस्ट के तौर पर अभी लीव पर चले जाएं. हमारा प्रोटेस्ट ये है कि कोई बच्चा या कोई जो बेटी है वो अभी कहीं सरकारी दफ्तर में ना जाए.
There are some modules working on behalf of some agencies in Pakistan. They are working for TRF under the umbrella of TRF, and TRF, as you know, is being run from Karachi. People from the minority community also have a right to go for their occupation, for their professions, wherever they are deployed by the government. They are being targeted.
The spate of murders has sent a chill across the valley. 7 civilians in 5 days.
मैं कहना चाहता हूं कि किसी को भी बख्शा नहीं जाएगा और बहुत जल्द हिसाब चुकता किया जाएगा.
On Saturday, 2 civilians, Majid Ahmed and Mohammad Shafi, were killed. On Tuesday, 3, including a prominent chemist ML Bindru in Srinagar, a Golgappa seller and non-local Virender Paswan, and a cab driver Mohammad Shafi, and now 2 teachers.
The question is why situation has reached such a pass. This is for the first time when teachers have been killed inside school because of their faith. The incidents over the last 1 week will have serious repercussions. With cameraman Amir in Srinagar, Nazir Masoodi for NDTV.
A woman has died after being set on fire in her home in northern Karnataka's Yadgir district after she fought off a rape attempt. The woman was treated for severe burns at a hospital in Kalburgi district, where she later died. The accused has been arrested.
A woman was set on fire in her home in North Karnataka's Yadgir district, allegedly by a man who had tried to rape her. She later died of her injuries in a Kalburgi hospital.
ಗಂಗಪ್ಪ ಎನ್ನುವ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ಆ ಊರಿನ ಒಂದು ಮನೆಗೆ ನುಗ್ಗಿ ರಾತ್ರಿ 2 ಗಂಟೆಗೆ ಒಬ್ಬ ಮಹಿಳೆಯ ಮೇಲೆ ಬಲಾತ್ಕಾರ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಪಟ್ಟಾಗ ಆ ಮಹಿಳೆ ಆತನ ಮೋಟಾರ್ ಸೈಕಲ್ನಿಂದ ಪೆಟ್ರೋಲ್ ತೆಗೆದು ಆ ಮಹಿಳೆಯ ಮೇಲೆ ಹಾಕಿ ಬೆಂಕಿ ಹಚ್ಚಿರ್ತಾರೆ.
The accused man has been arrested. Gangappa has been charged with murder and outraging the modesty of a woman. The SP of the district, Dr. C.B. Vedamurthy, told NDTV that 2 more people were being arrested for providing support to the main accused. A disturbing video of the woman's dying declaration, in which she names her attacker, has been shared on social media. The woman's sister said the man had been following her younger sister for a year, even when she went to the field or to the toilet.
ನಮ್ಮ ತಂಗಿಗೆ ಆ ತರ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟಾನ್ರಿ, ಪೆಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಹಾಕಿ ಬೆಂಕಿ ಹಚ್ಚಿ.
ಎಷ್ಟು ಗಂಟೆ ಬಂದ ನಮ್ಮ?
2 ಗಂಟೆ ರಾತ್ರಿ ಬಂದನ್ರಿ. ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಸಬ್ಬು ನಿದ್ದೆ ಐತದ್ರಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ.
ಅವ ಬಂದು ಪೆಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಹಾಕಿ
ಬೆಂಕಿ ಹಚ್ಚಿ ಹೊರಗೆ ಚಿಲ್ಕಿಟ್ಟು ಹೊಡೆ ಹೋಗ್ಯಾನ್ರಿ.
ಯಾರು?
ಅವ ಗಂಗಪ್ಪ.
The SP told NDTV that the panchayat had worked out a compromise between the 2 parties after the earlier harassment, and that unfortunately no police complaint had been made. He said the accused would have been booked and arrested if the police had been informed about the earlier harassment. Maya Sharma for NDTV.
Welcome back. Prime Minister Modi on Thursday completed 20 years as the head of a government, including 13 years as the Gujarat Chief Minister. And addressing an event in Uttarakhand's Rishikesh, he said that he had never imagined that he would rise to hold such positions. He also inaugurated 35 oxygen plants.
आज से 20 वर्ष पूर्व गुजरात के मुख्यमंत्री के रूप में मुझे नई जिम्मेदारी मिली थी. देश के प्रधानमंत्री पद पर पहुंचना, इसकी कल्पना मैंने कभी नहीं की थी.
The Prime Minister marked his 20 years in office, first as the Chief Minister of Gujarat and then as Prime Minister, by inaugurating 35 oxygen generation plants. Over 1100 such oxygen plants have been set up across the country, now covering every district.
1100 से अधिक ऑक्सीजन प्लांट्स की स्थापना.
After the devastating COVID second wave, which saw several instances of oxygen running out in hospitals and patients dying, shaken, the central and many state governments ordered oxygen plants to be set up to make hospitals self-sufficient and not rely on liquid medical oxygen manufacturers. 56% of the new oxygen plants have been sponsored by the PM CARES Fund. So far, all functioning plants give 3,100 metric tons of oxygen per day. This is about 30% of the total demand during the COVID peak, which reached 9,000 metric tons.
PSA plants are a source of oxygen generation from ambient air, and they're a useful system to have in a hospital to fulfill the oxygen requirements of a medium to large size hospital. But when there is a surge necessary, that you have to have a surge capacity building, then probably there needs to be other backup modes of oxygen delivery like liquid medical oxygen, etc., because these plants will not be able to, with this capacity, will not be able to take care of the surges that will happen.
Apart from oxygen, the government is preparing to deal with about 5 lakh cases daily, especially given the weeks of festivals coming up.
The preparedness is pitched to be ready to face a daily surge of 4.5 to 5 lakh cases per day. और उसको गाइडलाइन लेके, which is very high, उस तक नहीं पहुंचना है.
India will soon cross 1 billion vaccinations, but the hope remains that the scale-up in other aspects is fast enough to meet a crisis. With the upcoming festive season, the need to be cautious is stronger than ever. With Azam Siddiqui, Meher Pandey for NDTV.
And finally, it was the first day of Navratras. On Thursday, devotees offered prayers across the country. Those pictures there up on your screens of devotees celebrating Navratras. Places of worship opened in Maharashtra on Thursday, the first day of the Navratras. And the Chief Minister offered prayers at a temple in Mumbai. Saurav Gupta gets us the glimpse of the festivities.
Temples in Mumbai are opening since they were shut during the second wave. Now this of course is on the first day of Navratri, and you can see people here who've turned up, but of course entry is restricted with conditions, and that's of course you have to pre-book your appointment. So here you can see devotees coming here and sort of offering their prayers to Lord Ganesha here. This is of course the famous Siddhivinayak temple in Mumbai, which draws huge crowds, or at least used to draw huge crowds before the pandemic. And then of course it was shut during the first lockdown, and then of course the second wave led to it being shut again, and now of course it's finally opening again for devotees to come and worship. But of course there are conditions, and the conditions have been of course exhibited here outside the temple premises, and people have to sort of pre-book their appointments as well before they come here at the temple, so as to avoid crowding. Like of course COVID is still around, so everyone's advising caution while things are opening up, while temples, places of worship are opening up. The government is saying make sure you wear your mask, sanitize your hands frequently, and maintain social distancing even while visiting a place of worship. In Mumbai, with camera person Ashok Mahadik, Saurabh Gupta, NDTV.
So festivities with COVID appropriate behavior. So on that festive note, it's a wrap on this bulletin from the entire team. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.